Is that correct, Sister Jackie?
Yes.
All right, then I am going to take this time to invite you so that you can invite us to the program. If you can say a word of prayer and before we start.
Is Pastor Ezra there? Pastor Simon?
Yes, I'm here.
Pastor, can you start with the prayer then?
I'm here, Judy. All right, let's pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you so much for this afternoon. Thank you for our guests who are with us as we start this meeting. May you be with us. May you guide us as we have this afternoon program. It's a humble prayer in Jesus' name. Amen.
Aisha, thank you so much. And Mr. Sam and Mr. Fred and Sister Judy, thank you. Thank you so much for this afternoon. We just want to, as a church, we don't take this for granted. We are grateful that you are able to come and be with us this afternoon. With us, Sister Judy is the moderator and Fred, and I will let Sister Judy continue.
Okay, thank you so much, Sister Jackie, for inviting us to this afternoon program. And I know it's going to be a very, very helpful program to our listeners, and especially that we are going to touch on issues that touch the community and every person in general. So as you have heard, my name is Judith. I'm one of the moderators together with our brother Fred there. And with us, I see we have Sister Aisha. I was told she's from the MDH, and I'm going to give her this chance so that she can also introduce herself so that we know who she is, and then we will keep going from there.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. My name is Aisha Galaib, and I'm from Minnesota Department of Health, where I work closely with the African immigrant community, especially those I'm contract manager for the COVID community coordinator, as well as the lead African immigrant coordinator.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate your being here at this particular time. I also see Dr. Sam Birundu right there. I will also give you a chance to introduce yourself.
As you heard, my name is Sam Birundu, and I'm a medical provider at St. Peter. It's a government hospital in the city of St. Peter. And I'm a member of Kenyan Community Church. So we are here to talk to our people.
Thank you so much, Brother Sam, for being here. My co-moderator is Fred. I will also give him an opportunity to introduce himself.
Yeah, thank you, Sister Judy. My name is Fred Michira. I also am a member of KCC and a committee member for the health department. I work in healthcare. I work in leadership, managing in one of the facilities in Hopkins and Cassia organization in Minnesota.
Thank you so much. And also, the one who gave us a word of prayer is our pastor, the pastor of Kenyan Community, SDA Church, who is the host of the program. And Sister Jackie is the head of the health department at Kenyan Community Seventh-day Adventist Church. So we really appreciate you giving us the opportunity, Sister Jackie and your team from the church, to give us this opportunity. And without further ado, I think it would be good for us to know what we are going to discuss today, because I'm sure our listeners or our viewers would be wondering, what is the discussion going to be about? Now that you have heard, we have somebody from the medical MDH of Minnesota here. We also have medical practitioners. That tells us we are going to deal with the issues on health. Health is important. When there's a problem with health, the community cannot prosper. Prosperity comes with the health of the people, I believe. And that is why we are here. So we are really going to talk about pertinent issues. One of the very common, which is most recent, we all know about COVID-19. This has been with us for a while, and we have come a long way. We have lost a number of people in the country and worldwide at the same time. We have come through lockdowns. We have come through so much that has affected the community. And I just want to take this opportunity right now so that we can talk about the current issue, because that leads us to the issue of vaccines. But before we get into the issue of vaccines, I would like one of our panelists to give us a quick preview. Maybe there could be somebody who does not really understand what this COVID-19 is before we get into the issue of vaccinations, because this is what we have been talking about. This is what is all over about vaccinations, the issue of masks, and all these things that come with it. So I am going to pretty much give one of the panelists the opportunity to give us just a quick synopsis of COVID. Then we will get ourselves into where we are at the moment. Who's going to take the first baton? Okay, I see the beautiful smile, so that means any one of them would do that. So I'm taking you, Sam.
Thank you so much for asking me to introduce on COVID-19. I've talked about it in the church a few times before, and actually by now everybody knows COVID-19. It's a disease that originated from China, and it's all over the world. It's the most studied disease ever in the whole world and researched. And it's one of the diseases that has really scared the whole world. But then good things are working out. We are closing in and we're getting used to it. I'll say it's a respiratory issue. It's a disease that you can get either by somebody who is close to you, sneezing to you, or maybe if you touch like spaces that have the COVID-19 disease, then you touch your nose and then it goes to the lungs. Then you start having symptoms like difficult breathing and loss of taste. You can also have issues. Some people have even diarrhea. Some people even have confusion, like the older ones. And depending on the severity of the disease, it can be mild, depending on your immune system. It can just come as a common cold, but at the same time, it can be very severe that you end up in ICU, even needing to be helped to breathe with some mechanical ventilation. So it's it depends, and it's more individualized. I can't really say that if so and so is very sick, I would also be very sick. Or if so and so was not very sick, I will also be very sick. It's very individualized.
All right. Thank you so much, Brother Sam, for that explanation. And actually, you touched about the signs and symptoms as you were saying. So I think maybe we can get into the signs and symptoms of COVID-19. If somebody wants to understand, how do I know if I have COVID-19 or somebody close to me has been infected with COVID-19, what would be the signs and what would be the symptoms for one to take very seriously?
Okay, I would say, I don't know if I'm still the one that is supposed to,
Go ahead,
but
and
I
then
think
others
I
will
think
also-
I think I can allow the other people to talk too. I've talked this before, so Brother Mijira works in the health field. Aisha works in the public health. I think let me just leave them so that they can also talk about it.
That means the baton has been given to Aisha. And then you don't have to say all the symptoms, just say, we just want to go in brief. I know we also have a lot to discuss, so we are really going to go through this in detail later.
Yeah, sure. So I think what makes COVID so difficult is that there are so many varying symptoms, right? It might be different from one person to the other based on their age and if they have any sort of pre-existing health conditions, right? So typically what happens is common sort of symptoms may be sort of fever, cold, headache, chills, but then we're also recognizing that you can be asymptomatic, where you might not even have symptoms at all. So I think the most important thing is just to ensure that if you are exposed and that you know that you were close to someone who might have had COVID, is to get tested. And we really encourage people to frequently get tested. And so that's the main thing. But I think it's really difficult because it's not a single thing that you can identify. You know, just let any other health professional share.
Okay. Thank you so
Oh,
much.
so that is the church.
And just to add on that, I would say that, as we said, it's more individualized depending on the immune system. Some people can have mild symptoms, others can have up to very serious symptoms. But people, if you're really worried, if you start having like shortness of breath and maybe some confusion and also some pressure on your chest, like chest pains or something, know that that is very serious. You need to call 911. But it can present in different forms. You can have fever, you can have a cough, you can have a muscle pain, fatigue, and headache, sore throat, and all those. You can have those, and it's not, if you have the mild symptoms, it's not a must. And I do tell people that it's not a must that you have to go to be tested unless you're really worried. But the most important thing is if you start having difficult breathing, chest tightness, things are not working right for you, your oxygen is going down. It's good to have like a pulse oximeter in the house. If it's less than 90%, it's one of those times that you need to call 911 and go to hospital.
Thank you so much for that information. I'm sure it helps, and we will at this time want to find out. You said it's not a must for one to go get tested, but if they want to get tested, where would they go, Fred?
Yeah, thank you, Judy. Well, there are different facilities that offer testing. We have, I think Aisha can give us more light on the public sites, but you can go to your clinic. Like most healthcare facilities test for that. And then I know the state has designated certain sites where people can go and get tested for that. But the best thing, I think the first place to start is if you are not in the public health and you experience such symptoms as Brother Sam has described, I think the best thing is to call your physician. Then they can guide you from there. And I was going to add that these symptoms actually mask differently on different people. I mean, we know they are common, but then some people might not have the smell, the loss of smell, the loss of taste, but they might be having fever, they might be having even diarrhea, like some said. Some might have even abdominal pains. So if you're having something that is unusual, I think the best thing is to contact your provider and get guidance and get even if it becomes, there are certain symptoms that you don't even need to wait. You need to go to get to the hospital if you're having like shortness of breath, chest tightness, if you feel you dizzy and fainting, that is something you don't have to wait.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And recently, I think there have been efforts to have people get vaccinated. That is prevention, and maybe you're going to tell us more the importance of that. So who is eligible to be vaccinated? Because I think the very first time we had the elderly, essential workers, and how have we come? What is the journey on the vaccines? So if we can start with who is eligible to be vaccinated and why vaccination?
Okay. Well, I can start it, then I hand over to our guest there. I think we have come now through those stages, like the first tier, the second tier, and now it's open to the public. And actually, I know currently there are some like Pfizer is allowing people who are 12 and above to get vaccinated. So, we started with the people who are immune compromised, people who have existing conditions. And the health cares, I think we have come beyond that. Now it is open to even people who are 12 and above.
Yes, and I guess I can add.
Yes,
I guess I can add on to that. So every Minnesotan right now is eligible to get vaccinated. And so there are 3 types of vaccines currently available. So there's Pfizer, Moderna, and Johnson & Johnson, or Janssen. And so both Pfizer and Moderna are sort of mRNA vaccines that both require 2 doses, whereas the Johnson & Johnson requires 1 dose, and all the vaccines are effective. As sort of Fred alluded to, if you're 12 and over, you're eligible to receive Pfizer, which is 2 doses, and the Pfizer vaccine should be given sort of 21 days apart or 3 weeks. And so both Moderna and Johnson & Johnson are for people 18 and over. And Moderna is 2 doses and should be given 28 days apart or 1 month, whereas Johnson & Johnson is 1 dose. And then we really, at the state, we really sort of emphasize that it's very important that if you do get sort of Pfizer and Moderna, that you get both for the vaccine doses, and that the product, it's the same product for each dose. So if you get Pfizer, then your second dose should also be Pfizer, and that the doses should be given at the correct time apart. And the vaccine works best after 2 doses. And as I've mentioned, all the available COVID-19 vaccines are safe and effective. So you should go get whatever vaccine is currently offered to you. for those that are 18 and over, but if you are between the ages of 12 and 17, get certified.
Thank you so much. So can somebody choose what kind of vaccine they want? Because you have stated there's Moderna, Pfizer, Johnson & Johnson. How does one go about that? Can somebody just say, I want this? And if I want a particular one, are there particular places that I need to go or they need to go for that particular, or do they offer both of them at the same site?
Yeah, I guess I could take this one again. So it really depends on the site. I think most sites just will typically just offer one. So what you can do is you can visit sort of our Find My Vaccine from the MDH website or our vaccine connector, where you can just see any sort of vaccines that are available in your area. And through there, you can see which sort of vaccine is available. As I mentioned, if you are 12, between the ages of 12 and 17, you should be getting Pfizer. But I think the main thing is just ensuring that you get whatever is available to you, because all the vaccines are safe and effective.
Well, that's good. So maybe Judy, we can move to the second one for Aisha to explain to us, or any one of you to explain if vaccines are safe. Oh,
I think I'll take on that.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
On the vaccines, I want to say very clearly that, as Sister Aisha said, we have 3 types of vaccines, and we have the Moderna, the Pfizer, and the Johnson. Moderna and Pfizer are about 95% effective, and Johnson is about 85% effective, but all of them almost work. They are very effective and they are okay to get. The only good thing with the Johnson is it's just one shot, unlike the other ones that you have to go for the second one. However, there are a few cautions. Well, let me say they are safe and they're effective. Effective, they are safe how they have been received, and also if we follow from the cases that were studied, like the ones that were being studied, it's almost a year now, and they are doing very well. So nothing has been seen in those people, and actually, I can say that for the next 9 months, antibodies have been detected in people who had taken those vaccines, because as the public, we just started receiving them a few months ago, but those ones who were started, they still show that 9 months later. So that tells us that it's very safe. The only thing when I went to the Q&A for Moderna and Pfizer and Johnson is they say we don't know the long term. We don't know 5 years coming. We don't know 10 years coming. We don't know, but vaccines have been around for a long time and effective. Why I'm saying it's very effective, as you can see, COVID killed a lot of people. I mean, killed thousands and thousands of people, but you haven't heard that we have thousands that are dying from the vaccines. And if you look at the numbers in Minnesota, we are less than 400 cases a day, whereas we've been having up to 10,000 cases a day. So that means those vaccines are working, they are very effective, and actually people are doing very well. The only disclaimer I can put with Johnson is if you have a history of blood clots, do not receive it, because there were a few blood clots that were seen. There were some blood clots that were seen in 6 women. That's why it was withdrawn for a short time. So if you have history of blood clots, don't go for it. If you are a young woman of childbearing age and you're taking contraceptives, that wouldn't be a good one to go for. You can go for Moderna or Pfizer, some of their choices here. And actually, Moderna and Pfizer, these are mRNA. I know people had a question about, some people were talking out here about mRNA. It's a new way that the vaccines have been made. Yeah, technology has improved and we are going forward. Actually, some people even feared that they were going to interfere with our DNA, but they don't. Actually, once you receive the vaccine, it just instructs the cell to make a spike protein, just like the one that is found in the surface of COVID-19. Then the body realizes that there's a stranger here, and then it triggers the immune response, which produces the antibodies. So I will say that it's very good to go to receive it. Why could I want to urge somebody to go for it? I'm not saying that it is a must, but if you're 65 years, you have to look at the risk benefits. In medicine, we look at the risk benefits. If you are 65 years and older, you are a risk group. There is no reason why you can't have it. If you are, let's say, 55 and above, and you have diabetes, you have hypertension, you have your immune system is so low. I mean, you have cancer, you have HIV, you have, they may be controlled, HIV may be controlled, but still you are in that risk group. So you need to receive it. And of course, I know we have younger people who are healthy and who are very good immune system. This one, you have to talk to your doctor, just talk to your doctor, sit down and say, well, what do you think? If you don't have a doctor, I think do not go like groupthink and say, you know what, so-and-so has not received, I can't. We have younger people who have really suffered with COVID-19 and others have died. If you are obese, your BMI is over 35, regardless of age, that is a risk factor that you need to go. So if you have an airway disease, chronic obstructive disease, like people who smoke, or you have maybe asthma that is being treated with medications every day, you're at high risk. So I think it's the risk benefits that will guide at the moment. It's very safe in Israel. They really did a lot of campaign and people were vaccinated. They have almost gone to normal. So it's working, it's safe, and it's very effective.
Thank you. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Go ahead, Judy.
So is the vaccine free? Do people have to pay to get the vaccine?
It is actually. This is the right time even to take advantage. It's free. Vaccines are very expensive. They are very, very expensive. So at the moment, you can take advantage. I saw even some clinics in the rural areas. They were asking people to come to be given, and I'm like, I wish we could get all these vaccines to Kenya, where people are suffering. They're fighting for the vaccines. So it's free, it's okay. I think it's good to go for it.
I think you mean it's free for the end user, but maybe is the government catering for that? But I think those of us who are getting it at the end, I think it's free to us, right?
All right, that's great to know, because some people think, does anybody need to go with an insurance card, medical card for them to get that, or they don't need to go with any of that? What is expected for anybody to go or to sign up? Aisha.
Yeah, so at our state-run sites or through the sites at local public health, which is the counties or the city levels, you do not need to show your insurance card because it is free and open to everyone, regardless of your insurance status or your citizenship status. You don't even have to show an ID. But it also depends on if you are going to a healthcare provider. They may ask to show proof of ID and proof of health insurance if you have it, because there might be administration fees, but that depends on sort of your healthcare provider. But if you do have insurance, the administration fee would fall under your health insurance. So you would technically do not have to pay for that. But as I've reiterated, at the state-run sites or local public health sites, it's free and open to everyone, and you do not need to show proof of insurance or ID.
Very well. So if I'm an immigrant and or in the community, how do I sign to get the vaccine?
Yeah, so at the state, we have the COVID-19 community vaccination program with large scale sort of community vaccine sites. And so some of our COVID community coordinators or CCCs have already started hosting their own vaccine sites throughout sort of Minnesota statewide. And you can find more information on where to find sort of those locations through Find My Vaccine Location, where you can just find any sort of, as I've mentioned, any sort of vaccines that are available in your area, whether that's sort of the state-run sites, sort of community-led sites, the clinics, hospitals, or pharmacies near you. And then we also have a COVID-19 community mobile vaccine bus project, where sort of some mobile units that are really targeting greater Minnesota and sort of communities that are experiencing barriers to receive the vaccinations and really meeting people where they're at. And so Minnesotans can also use the online vaccine locator map, as I mentioned, and also I think contacting your healthcare provider if you have any questions regarding sort of the vaccine and where to get it. I mean, I think really the important thing now is that given the fact that everyone is sort of eligible to get vaccinated, is really targeting sort of communities that have a history of barriers, whether that's navigating the health and social system.
Very well.
Okay.
Go ahead,
Yes,
Jill.
Fred.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, thank you so much. Aisha, you mentioned that you work with the immigrant community a lot. And I was just wondering, are there or do we have many immigrants coming to get vaccines or looking for vaccines? And if so, what is the number? Do you know anything like, are the immigrants at the top of it?
Yeah, it's really hard to find because our data, the way it's classified, it sort of groups multiple communities. They don't really disaggregate the data, so it's really hard to assess whether it's an immigrant or, for example, they sort of categorize sort of Black and African American. Okay. So it's really hard to break down whether they're African American or an immigrant or first generation. So it's really hard because of that. But what we have found is at our sort of through our contractors, our COVID community coordinators, our CCCs, they're having sort of targeted events and doing an amazing job at doing targeted outreach and really encouraging people to get vaccinated. And they have ongoing vaccine clinics. I do know Breathe Health, which is located in East Lake Street in Minneapolis. They have a vaccine clinics available every Tuesday and Saturday. And I know they're doing an amazing job at targeting the community, as well as our other COVID community coordinators. I have 6 of them. So Breathe Health is one of them. ACER, TAX, which is the mainly serve Ethiopian community, WellShare International, African Immigrant Community Services, and Islamic Association of North America. And they're really doing a fantastic job at really meeting the community where they're at and doing tailored messaging. Because sort of right now we're reaching the point where all that's sort of left are people who are sort of hesitant and really encouraging them to get vaccinated. And they're really doing an amazing job at sort of getting the community and getting a high number of sort of the African immigrant community to get vaccinated.
All right.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I think you answered that well. So one might ask if a lady is pregnant, can they get the vaccine?
I
Do you get my question?
Yeah, you
Okay.
say if somebody's pregnant, yeah, it's safe to get it. It's not a live vaccine. It's an mRNA vaccine. Yeah, they can get it. And that's from Moderna and Pfizer, and in their website they have it. That's what they say. So, and we go by them.
Yeah, and then just to add on to that, if you are pregnant, we do recommend that if you do have a healthcare provider, to sort of talk to them if you want to receive the vaccine, if you have any additional questions about the vaccine and being pregnant. But it is safe.
Very well.
Okay.
Yeah, we can move along
Yes,
here.
fine.
So some people are asking if when they get the vaccinations, what are the common side effects after getting the vaccination?
I guess maybe I can take this one. So when you get the COVID vaccine, you may experience side effects, and that depends on. I think it varies among everyone. There isn't. We can't really predict if you might have a severe case or you might not. But if you do, the sort of the common ones are sort of pain, whether that's feeling achy or tired or having a headache. Your arm might be sore. Some people may have chills or fever, but that's okay. And it's also okay. You might not even have any side effects. For me personally, I didn't have any side effects. So I was really fortunate. Whereas my mother was very tired and had a fever. So each person will have a different reaction to the vaccine, and that's completely fine. But we do want to reiterate that if you are getting sort of side effects, that means the vaccine is working. And if you don't, it's also working as well, but it just varies among everyone.
That's right. And I think, yeah, they might rest a few days. And that's it's true, as you said, actually, this shows that the body is fighting, and then I think that is when the body is telling you that vaccine is working. But if I believe it goes beyond 3 days, then you need to call your doctor. Okay, Judy, can you?
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, Brother Sam, I know some people are hesitant to get the vaccines, and probably this is because there are certain myths that are being associated with the vaccine. What kind of information or misinformation or myths are out there about vaccines?
Good question. I won't even be able to know
Do
what
they
kind
know?
of myths are out there, but I'll be able to give you facts about that, because I've had a lot of them, and I mean, people are coming up with issues, or you will not get children. You you lose the ability to get children. Others are saying, "Oh, I'll die. I'll do this." I don't know where they're getting them from. Facts are there. These vaccines they're proved. They say they're 95% effective. They're proved that. The numbers are going down. So far, it's safe. They have even said it very clearly. We don't know 20 years coming if there will be something. But what people are saying is not true, because the ingredients in those vaccines, I mean, they do list them. If you go to the Q&A for Janssen, Moderna, and Pfizer, and they listed them very well. Those, what we are talking that it will cause this and this, we don't know. Some people even say, I'll get dementia. we wonder. I mean, so far, so good. even when COVID came. I mean, remember when COVID came and all of us were in fear. I was also in fear. I remember those times everybody was in fear. We read all over social media. I'll tell you every day people came up. If you have 5G, you are dying. If you have this is gonna happen. If you're having, I don't know where those myths disappeared to. I don't know. I don't know where they went to. Same thing. Anything new, I mean, it has its run. Even those vaccines anyway. I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't be able to know.
All
It
right.
depends. I would really need
I
to know,
think that
but
would be
there are few of those. Yeah.
personal, but the facts are out there, right?
Yeah,
Everybody
it's the
wants
facts
to
that I
get
can tell you. Yeah.
information. Yes, anybody wants the information. It's
Yeah.
free and accessible for them to know what ingredients have been used, and I think that explains it very well. So, what are the current COVID-19 restrictions? Even?
Yeah, so as of yesterday, May 28th, nearly all state COVID restrictions have come to the end, including capacity limits and distancing requirements, both indoors and outdoors. So today, cases are falling as more and more Minnesotans are getting vaccinated. And with that, more of our community are getting protected more than now than ever. And sort of we can confidently say that we are sort of getting back to, I wouldn't say normal, but sort of getting back to what is sort of the new normal, right? And sort of really, I think people that are vaccinated, being able to gather with people that are vaccinated, especially whether that's family members or people that they love. And so while we ended sort of the capacity and distancing requirements that Minnesota has made, the state will continue to have emergency efforts to get sort of Minnesotans tested and vaccinated, and we will continue to monitor the virus, and especially now with the growing number of new variants in the months to come.
Okay, so does anybody still need to wear a mask? So the mask mandate has been lifted. I think it was lifted in Minnesota. Yesterday was the last day for the outdoors, for those who are vaccinated, right?
Yeah, so just to clarify, come July 1st, or when 70% of the population is vaccinated, there will be no statewide mask mandate in Minnesota. And so the state is following CDC guidelines, as we've done all along. But businesses, organizations, and communities might have their own requirements in place. And we strongly recommend that anyone that is not fully vaccinated wear a mask and social distance around people once they go outside and gather. And then people who are fully vaccinated may decide to continue wearing a mask, and that's completely fine as well, but they're not required to wear one in settings. But I also want to clarify, this might sound a bit confusing. So St. Paul, Minneapolis will still have the mask mandate in place, requiring people to wear a mask indoors and at all city-controlled facilities and at all businesses, and except when they have to temporarily remove it when they're eating or drinking. And all businesses strongly are encouraged to continue to require all individuals to wear a face covering indoors at all times when social distancing and when they're sort of 6 feet, when 6 feet apart is not maintained. So just to clarify that, because I know it's confusing for myself too, the mask mandate will be lifted come July 1st, or when 70% of the population is vaccinated. But then St. Paul and Minneapolis will still have the mask mandate. So for example, if you live in Brooklyn Park, you might not have to wear a mask, but then once you come to sort of Minneapolis and St. Paul, you have to wear a mask.
Very well. And also, I think the experts are advising that people who still have pre-existing conditions or those chronic conditions, I think it's a choice to continue wearing those, but it's not mandatory. And also I was going to ask about traveling. Aisha, if I want to go to New York, do I still need to be tested?
Yeah, so we recommend that if you do travel and you come back to Minnesota to get tested within 5 days, we encourage that. just to ensure that that you are tested and you know that whether you're, so that you know your COVID status, given the spread sort of the new variants. So we just recommend that if you do travel domestically or internationally, that you get tested upon your return.
Does anybody need to quarantine after traveling? Maybe internationally when they come back, do they need that? Or if they are vaccinated, does anybody know about that?
What I know is, or what I heard from the CDC is that so if you live in the United States, you are not required, if you are fully vaccinated, not required to test, but it depends on where you are going. For example, if you're going to Europe, southern countries, they might require a negative test, but that is up to them. And then coming back, I think I see, I don't know going forward, but like Aisha said, you need to test like 2 to 3 days after that, after you arrive. So it depends on the destination where you're going. So we can move to the next item. There is, so like we know in Minnesota, this coming summer, they are giving rewards. What are the rewards that the state is offering, and who is eligible to get those?
Yeah, so the first 10,000 Minnesotans age 12 and older will get their first COVID-19 vaccine between May 27th and June 30th will be eligible to receive a special reward. And you just have to fill out a request form. They'll be opening up from June 1st to June 30th, and the request rewards must be submitted to the Minnesota Department of Health, or MDH, by 11:59 p.m. on June 30th. And then for more information on sort of what those rewards are, please visit the MDH website. Some of them include sort of hospital a fishing license, access to state parks, state fair. And so vaccine information will be subject to, if you do sort of submit the request, you might have to sort of prove that, sort of verify that you have received the vaccine.
Okay. Jackie, you wanted to say something?
There's question in YouTube here. Asking, is it unspiritual to be vaccinated against COVID-19?
Is that unspiritual?
I I think I can answer that question. No, it's okay to receive it because it's not made from the fetal like tissues. Because I know the Catholic Church is very strong on abortion and other things, and stem cells and all those other things. It's not made from such like the fetal tissue, so it's okay to receive it.
So yeah, and it might, I mean, it goes with the meats too, if I can add, because different meats, different beliefs, but different religious beliefs. But the vaccine is actually safe. It's like taking any medication, and this goes also to the meats, that there are people who believe that relying on steam, hot water is enough, but there's a proof that we can even see in our own country here how the rate has actually gone down, and it's because of the vaccinations. The more people are vaccinated, the more the numbers are going down. So we might leave to the religious leaders and different beliefs. I know even leave alone the religious beliefs. There are people, even where we work, they don't believe in taking that. It's a choice right now, but it's strongly recommended, because by taking the vaccination, you protecting yourself, you protecting your loved ones. So it's like being a good neighbor. Yeah. Judy, we have anything else?
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think, yeah. At this time, I think I would take it to Aisha before we get to Sam. If there is any special, appeal that you want to make at this particular moment about vaccines.
Yes, I definitely want to sort of reiterate that the vaccine is safe and effective. And if you need sort of any more additional information about the vaccine, please visit our MDH website or CDC, where there's sort of extensive information on the vaccine, the ingredients, how it was made, how for CDC and FDA regulate the vaccines. And I also want to mention, as of May 27, 64% of Minnesotans have received at least one dose of the vaccine, and 58% have completed the vaccine series. So we've definitely come a long way. And we hope this summer, given sort of these new incentives, that we do reach our goal and vaccinate the community.
Thank you so much, Aisha. Brother Sam.
Yeah, I think I don't know if there is much to add on that. What I will say, because I've already spoken and said, and the sister Aisha said, it's very safe and effective, and you can see the numbers speak for themselves. The ingredients in those vaccines do not have the preservatives, they do not have the gelatin, they are not made from any, like material. The ingredient, they are safe. They are not known to cause any issue that will make people to fear not to go for it. But this is something in medicine we say risk benefits. You just look at yourself and say, I'm 65. I'm likely to get, if I get COVID, most likely it may kill me, or I may go to hospital and it will not be very good. I may even end up even to life support or some ECMO or those, wonderful machines to breathe for you. So it's good to protect yourself. If you have any medical condition, you have hypertension, heart issues, and you are obese. I mean, wow, I know that is the right word, but that is the right word. Your BMI is over 35. At any age, you are at very high risk. So just look at yourself. That's what I will say. I'll tell people, don't look at the kids in your house, or don't look at maybe your spouse or whatever. Just look at yourself and say, what are my risks? If you are not sure, even you need to talk to your doctor. That's very, very important. Sit down, they have your records, they know what you have, they can advise you which one to take, which one not to take, or not to take it, because you're already under their care. They will tell you the precautions that they want you to take, or what the risks that they know. So it's the risk benefits. If you're a risk group, it's a very good thing to do, because you cannot go wrong.
There's a question here.
Yeah.
What I'm saying, can somebody get COVID-19 after getting vaccine?
Yeah, that's a good question. The vaccines are not made to make you not to get COVID vaccine. All vaccines, actually, let me say all vaccines in general, the assumption is they're made on the severity. What they're supposed to do is to help you gain antibodies, okay? Like a country, let me give a layman's language. This is your body is like a country that needs the police and the army to be ready in case there is an enemy coming. Once you have trained soldiers that are ready, when the enemy comes, you're likely to attack the enemy and maybe win, or at least be at bar, or not to lose your people. The same thing, once you receive the COVID vaccine, your body is going to be protected. You may get the COVID-19, but it will not be as severe as it will if you are not protected. Or you may be, if the immune system also is stronger, you may not even realize that you got it because it will just go like a common cold. So you are trying to create a system in you. You're trying to give yourself strength. It's not, you can't just say, I'm vaccinated well during the COVID here. You get it. You get it. But the good thing is you'll be protected. It will fight. It may not be as severe, and probably you may not even end up going to hospital.
I have another question here, Aisha. Probably if you can calculate, or any other panelists also can say something about it. After, if somebody has gotten COVID-19, do they need to take a vaccine, or have they developed any antibodies? Because somebody is asking, like, okay, if I have COVID, I've had it before, should I worry about getting it again? And so do I need to take a vaccine?
Yes, if you've had COVID before, you should get the vaccine. And I think it just depends in terms of when you should get it. Maybe speak to a healthcare provider just to determine that you have sort of passed the stage of sort of your isolation period, and then you are eligible to get the vaccine. Because I think there's a certain time frame where you can't get the vaccine because you've had COVID. But we do recommend that, and we encourage everyone that if you've had COVID in the past, you can get the vaccine. It just depends on the time frame when you had it and when you plan on getting the vaccine.
If I can add also on what you said, yes, if you had COVID, you developed antibodies. They don't last long. They last for 3 months. So after 3 months, you can go for the vaccination. There was debate that they were going up to 7 months, but that one was debunked. It's 3 months, barely up to 6 months. It's less 6 months. So after 3 months, it's a very good idea to go for the vaccine. And if you went to hospital and you were treated with monoclonal antibodies, yes, you're also supposed to go after 3 months because the monoclonal antibodies can interfere with the efficacy of the vaccine. So after 3 months, you are supposed to, it's a very good idea. And especially if you got COVID, yeah, after 3 months, you need to go for it.
All right, another question. What are the effects of COVID-19 after recovery? The effect of COVID-19 after recovery.
I think I can take that one. Yeah. After you got COVID-19, I mean, as you can see, so many people were attacked by COVID. And once they got better, they got better. You just go back to normal. Once you recover, you recover. However, this is important. However, we have some people it took a long time. They were having difficult breathing, even up to over a month or 2 to 3 months, actually. So, and some people recovered very quickly. But for the most part, once you recover, we have seen people recover and recover to normal.
All right. Also, I think since we have time, we can talk about the transmission. How is it? Let's say a member in your household has COVID, and some of the members haven't been vaccinated. How would they get those? I mean, can you enlighten us on that? What are they supposed to do at this time?
Okay, I'll say if somebody is sick in the house, I think it's a good idea for them to isolate, because that is the right word, is to move the person who is sick from the population that is not sick. They need to mask at all times, at least for 14 days. And then the people in the house also have to be very careful, especially if they're lying close to the person. They make sure so they have a surgical mask, not the cloth mask. I mean the surgical mask. So I think the first thing is to isolate the case and have them, stay, if possible, in their room, away from the people, and take all the precautions. Wash hands, mask at all times, and everybody when they're going close to him to do that too. So.
Okay. Thank you. Maybe I'll also bring this question up. Are there any recommended food or particular recommendations of what people need to do to prevent themselves or to boost their immunity in the fight for COVID-19?
Well, there are so many things that you need to do to boost your immunity. I mean, it's just a myriad. It's so many. It's what you're doing every day. Probably you're not aware that you're doing it. Number one, you need to make sure that you are eating a balanced diet. We have proteins and vitamins and also.
What kind of vitamins?
No, vitamins. Vitamins from food. From food. You eat so vitamin-rich foods. Okay, sorry. I'm sorry. Vitamin-rich foods, like kales. Getting oranges, you can get vitamin C.
Okay.
Eating apples and all those, and fruits and fruits and vegetables, and also make sure you have a good serving of protein, a fair amount of carbohydrates to give you energy, and the rest. That's a good thing. You need to exercise. You need to exercise actually every day as much as you can. You don't have to say that I don't have the equipment. You can just exercise in a very small room. Just do some aerobics that will boost your immunity. And I know some people are saying I'll have all this wonderful ginger and all those things. Those are good. They will only you're boosting your diet, all those wonderful things, ginger, lemon, and all those things. I mean, you're boosting your immunity. So, and also you need to make sure you follow precautions, get vaccinated to boost your immunity and other things.
That's very well. Also, Sam, as you explained with the, on the exercising and eating well-balanced diet. So in our communities, especially the immigrant communities, I know a lot of members stay home a lot, So if somebody is not vaccinated and is at home, been sitting a lot, and they feel like they're having pain on their lower extremities, the legs, I'm saying, what can you advise those people to do?
You said people have been sitting down in the home.
Yeah, I'm saying that most of our members, I'm not just saying the migrants, but we stay home, we don't exercise.
I agree with you. One thing you need to know, you need to be advocate of your body. It's up to you to decide on what to do. It's like a pastor asking people to come, doing calling people or doing, calling people for the right path. But anyway, the most important thing is you need to know who you are. It's yourself as an individual, okay? And it's good to advocate for your body. You know very well a sedentary life is likely to lead you to gaining weight, eventually maybe getting diabetes, getting hypertension, getting eventual strokes down the road, high cholesterol, and all those things. So I think the most important thing is you being an advocate for yourself, for your body, making sure that you are doing the right thing. You can't really force people to do exercise, but you can only advise. We go to the doctor's office. How many people come? How many of my patients come? I saw them this year. They're coming for their history and physical. I teach them, okay, and even them, they even have resources. Go see the dietitian, let's talk this and this and this and this. And they go home, relax. Next time they're coming, they're out at another 20 pounds. Their cholesterols are way up there. There's nothing I can do. I can't force you to do things. I can only give you facts which can help you. It's up to you to decide. But the thing is, it's very clear. You eat a balanced diet, you exercise, you walk around, you move around. Even moving around itself will help you with lower back pain. So I think when you sit down, that's when you hurt. That's when your legs starts to hurt. If you have the habit of moving around, then you find, there's a time I also led a very sedentary life. I started feeling my knees hurting, but I started doing exercises that they never hurt anymore. So it's up to you to decide on what you want to do. But the facts are very clear. Exercise, good health, drinking water, or the appropriate fluids, they are very important. You need to be an advocate of your body. This is the temple of God. You need to protect it.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I think we have really covered pretty much on the issues. And I know that health is important. Health is important to everybody. This is where all communities or all groups of people converge. When it comes to health, everybody has to take care of the issues that come with health. And I know due to COVID, somebody mentioned that one of the side effects is mental issues and depression and all that. So quickly, can somebody just tell us what needs to be done? What can we tell these kind of people who probably have lost a lot due to COVID-19? And Aisha, especially, are there health groups or are there places that you can refer them to go, especially if people have lost their income due to COVID-19, mental health issues, anything?
Yeah, I think one thing with COVID is I think one thing that's left out of the conversation with COVID is sort of the mental health impact, right? Because everyone, due to the restrictions, right, there's sort of the loss of those sort of social support networks. Obviously, there's grief due to loved ones passing away because of COVID, and people finding sort of various different sort of coping mechanisms to deal with it. And so at the state, we do have sort of hotlines, as well as mental health resources for people to seek. I know our COVID community coordinators, or CCCs, also have hotlines for people to call if they need support, whether it's sort of with mental health, whether it's with housing support, whether it's even just navigating social services, information on sort of food distribution or food drives in the area. So I would definitely recommend using those either hotlines from the state, as well as we also have resources posted on our website as well.
Thank you very much for that information, and we really want to take this opportunity to thank each and every one of us. Unless there's any comments, but I just wanted to reiterate and say that as a church and as the Adventist group, Adventist takes health very, very seriously, and it's believed that it's called to bring physical, mental, spiritual, and social well-being to our communities. That is one of the calls that the Adventist community group has. And this brings a sense of security that is the core to an individual's well-being. And these are the things that you have been discussing. And they cannot exist in a world where people probably live in fear. So people need to be told these things so that they make their, decisions and also know exactly what's happening and what is out there that they can tap into so that they can get the kind of help that they need. So, Brother Fred, I think we have really done pretty much today. Maybe we need to bring it to a close here.
Right.
Any comments before we can also offer a word of prayer?
Yeah, thank you. I also take the opportunity to thank everyone who has participated. Thank you, Aisha. Thank you, Sam and Pastor, and those ones who are watching. Just also to say that let's take this seriously, even if we are vaccinated. Let us remember that there are others out there who are not vaccinated. And, like you live in your house, you have to close the windows, you have to close the doors. So masking is very important, especially if you are not vaccinated. And even if you are vaccinated, if you have underlying conditions, it's good to continue doing that. And if you are within somebody who is sick with COVID has there are three ports that it can enter through: your eyes, your nose, your mouth. So it's good to seal those if you are within the vicinity of a sick person. So let us continue to listen to the experts and live healthy, and above all, trust that God is the best physician and the best guider. And as a religious community, we have to advocate for wellness in our communities. So thank you for participating in this, and please continue to participate, even if not here, but wherever you are. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Well, actually, I wanted to close with a verse from the Bible, which is 3 John 1 and 2. This is what it says: Beloved, I pray that you may prosper in all things and be in health, just as your soul prospers. So it's very important to remain in health, to prosper in health. And with that, I will give a word of prayer. As Sister Jackie, did you have something to say before we close with a word of prayer?
I will ask Sister Aisha for just a summary, or if she has anything for all of us to be able to, even, any resources that she has that can be able to assist our community and any neighboring, community at large.
Yes, sure. So if anyone is sort of interested in hosting their own sort of community-led vaccine site, we do have a request form. Please visit our MDU's website. We have two options: either sort of a community site where you can select a space that is welcoming and familiar to the community, like a church, or if there's any sort of community or recreational spaces. And then we also have the option of doing a mobile bus, where a bus can come and vaccinate people sort of at a parking lot. So it's very convenient, especially in sort of the more sort of greater Minnesota area. So we have those opportunities available because we find that for these community-led vaccine sites are definitely more impactful at reaching the community. So please visit our MDH website for more information on that.
All right. Thank you so much, Aisha, for that.
Hey, Sister Aisha, another quick question that I just have posted here, that if someone has COVID and is admitted at the hospital, is there a way that, is it the individual that cover the cost, or the hospital will cover the cost for that?
Can you repeat that? I think you cut off a bit. Sorry.
I have a question here that was just posted. They're asking that if, let's say, one of our, a community member, you end up having COVID, can the hospital?
Yeah, and I can add on that, Jackie. So I think another thing is, are there resources for those people who have been affected by or who have been sick of COVID? Are there resources that they can get to pay for that, or the hospitals? Can you? I think that's what the question is. Yeah.
Yes, we do have resources in terms of people who are in financial need. But I think maybe the two people who are in sort of the medical field can maybe provide more background in terms of sort of how it is as a healthcare provider, because at the state, we do have resources, but I think it'd be more meaningful if the two people who work, who are healthcare providers, can provide that insight.
Sam, can you comment on that?
Very unfortunate that we don't really, from the provider point of view, us is just dealing with the patient and they go from the door. We don't really, what we care is if I'm going to prescribe a medication or something, is it cost effective? Is it the lowest cost for that, but to achieve the therapy that you are trying to get for the patient. However, I would say we have, if you end up in a hospital, we have social workers in the hospital. They can help you to deal with the financial issues. So I don't think the doctors and nurses can help you on that. You can talk to the social workers. They can find resources for you. They can look at your case and look and see if you don't have money. Even there's medical assistance if you don't have any money. So I think you could do not fear to go to hospital if you're feeling really sick and you don't have anything. You need to go to hospital. You need to go to hospital. There's medical assistance. There are social workers in the hospital. They can help you to navigate through your financial needs. Otherwise, I think aside to that, I also want to say thank you for inviting me on to this, and let's take advantage. We live in a very good country right now. If you look at Kenya, there are no vaccines there. Let's take advantage of this. Remember, you also need to protect, if you need to protect also your parents, or the people are vulnerable that live with you. So, and also talk to your doctor. If you have insurance, please see a doctor every year. And I can speak to men, especially us men from Africa. I'll tell you, we don't go to hospital. What we do, we wait until we are sick. And bodies compensate. You may be having a blood pressure at some point, you feel like you're dizzy, and then in a few days, the dizziness is gone. You don't know your blood pressure is really high and the body is trying to compensate until it reaches a point whereby your blood pressure cannot take it anymore. And then you end up in a stroke or something. Or you get COVID-19. And then people say, well, you are very healthy, you are young, you are a very good person. I mean, how come you're really sick? Because you've never seen a doctor. So I urge our men in the community. I know women are very good. They do go to hospital to see their doctor. If you have insurance, please every year make an effort. Go, make sure they check your cholesterol, make sure they check your, and if you're 40, I mean, you're eligible for that. And if you're 50, you make sure you do a colonoscopy. Colon cancer is on the rise. All those things, I mean, make sure you go to your doctor, even if you check and find that your labs are fine, things are fine, you're doing exercises, you're eating well. Just make sure that you are in good health by talking to your doctor. And then for COVID-19, and just to follow, go to CDC, go to MDA, and read. I mean, have the habit of reading. We do read on the technical side because we are required to keep researching on other things. But it's a good thing even to Google, because Google can be a good start just to give you some information. But then it's good to go to CDC and MDH and then get information. I know media is very misleading, especially for politics. I mean, you find that people are leaning to the extreme right. They have their way of saying we lost because the pandemic was used to do this, and there was a liar. And then on the far left, they are saying this. We want this and this. And you find some people discouraging other people not to go for vaccination. Please, let's stay away from what media is saying. I don't know why it's very attractive. It's good to read credible sources and to get good information. I wish you good luck and thank you for inviting me.
All right. Thank you so much. We have really had a wonderful time with all that information, and I believe it's going to be very helpful to our people out there. And as we have said, God wants us to be in health, to continue being in health, as we saw in 3 John 1 and 2. So I will finish with a word of prayer, and thank you so much. I hope we will invite you back again. Don't be tired to come. We would love, Aisha, to have you, Brother Sam, and Michael, moderator. We thank you so much. Let's pray. Father God, we thank you so much for your kindness and goodness. We thank you because of health. We thank you also for the opportunity you have granted us through this media that we can reach out to our communities and other people. How we pray that, Lord, you will be with each and every one of us. Keep us healthy. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.